These 6 books are part of a much larger list that I would consider required reading for people that read history or nonfiction. Let's get into it. Caesar, Life of a Colossus by Adrian Goldsworthy. Caesar is the bulwark that spearheaded the transition from the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire. The impact of that movement is still felt throughout the world today and has its fingerprints all over history in the time since. Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World by Jack Weatherford. Genghis Khan, well known throughout history as a barbaric conqueror, conquered more land than any person in human history, saw the progression of religious freedom, modernized warfare across Asia and Europe, and spanned his empire from Southeast Asia into Russia and across Eastern Europe. The Crusades by Thomas Asbridge. To be able to cover a period in history as sprawling, as vast, with so much depth like the Crusades, Asbridge is fantastic in his research and writing in this book. He not only wrote a book on the full scope history of the Crusades, he also has a book on the First Crusade, which highlights the individual time period that is so impactful on the beginning of the Crusades, which history is felt still throughout the world today. Staying with the Crusades, but from a different angle, Crusades through Arab eyes from Amani Malouf. So much of the history of the Crusades is written from the Western perspective. Malouf relies on Arab chronicles and scholars to highlight the Muslim perspective of the Crusades, which is so important because this was during a time where Muslims were constantly infighting, seeking different gains through their own motivations, and were able to find a way to unite for their common cause in the Crusades. The Norman Conquest by Mark Morris, the Battle of Hastings and the fall of the Anglo-Saxons, which also coincides with the fall and end of the Viking era, is extremely pivotal to not only the history of England, but the change in history of Europe. He was a fantastic politician with forward-thinking ideas that changed the shape of European politics and rule forever. And last but not least, The Coming of the Third Reich, first book in the Third Reich trilogy by Richard J. Evans, highlights one of the most impactful periods in history. We all know how this came to be. We all know how it came to end. Evans masterfully describes the impact of this history, not only during this time, but the impact of the aftermath at the end of World War II. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books, what your thoughts were, and what other books you think should be added to required reading for nonfiction and history readers.